Hi everybody, Lisa here. Thank you so much for the comments. The beautiful comments meant so much. I'm so glad some people could relate, get some information, that they appreciated hearing my story, and learn some things. And I read everything, and a comment that I did get was also a request to share my second near-death experience. So this one is very near and dear to my heart because it really changed so much for me. And I'm going to say that people all have different lives and therefore different deaths, near-death experiences. Everyone's relationship with Source, with God, is going to be different. So this is mine. Some of them may be different, and take what resonates with you and leave the rest. If anything, take it as an interesting story. But I just want to answer some questions of what I learned about is there judgment, what path leads to God, because I asked questions. What's the right path to take? People want to know, is it this religion? Is it that religion? Do I do this or that? Am I doing something wrong? And none of it really matters. Like, everything you do leads you to God. But we'll get into that later. And I even asked why we don't remember. Why we don't remember God. And, where do our experiences go? There's Akashic records, there's the grid, the crystalline grid, there's places that it's stored even within our DNA. So we hopefully someday will be able to access those, but I noticed through a lot of quantum hypnosis and aura healing hypnosis, you can access past lives, and those memories are there. Some people may even want to know how they glorify God, So these are some of the things, that I found out when this happened. So I'll start by saying that I had been doing 6 months of a type of biological chemotherapy where when you sweat, you smell like metal, like your hair comes out, especially along your sweat line. I'm not going to go too deep into like the health issues and all of that because none of that really matters, because what I'm here to talk about is the experience and everything that I learned. So, the interesting thing was, my last actual death experience, the woman that had come to me in my doorway and the few days before it happened, turned out to be my great-grandmother, who I saw in pictures later on, and she was bent over because she had scoliosis of the spine, which now I have as well. And her name was Mary, and I had always, I had a relationship with her. And my actual spirit guide, who's named Maria, I had never seen. And so I had asked before I went to bed, and I had been really weak. All my white blood cells were wiped out. Like, you sneeze on me and I could die of pneumonia. It was really bad, and I just wanted to see her face. And so thinking maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. I have a lot of lucid dreams, I go a lot of places in my dreams, but this was something, I don't know what happened, but suddenly I was in this place and I felt like I'd always been there. And it was kind of like a meadow, but it was so bright. It was so bright, but it was like the light didn't hurt my eyes. And there were all these people around me. And I was leaning on somebody who was sitting on a chair, and I was telling all of these people who I knew on the other side. They were important people on the other side, and they were writing things down, and they were asking me what it was like, my life was like, and I was telling them I was a model, and I had this horrible addiction, and I had this experience and that experience, and they were so interested, and they were, and I even had this dress on that I wore when I was little. That was my favorite dress, but I was, full grown, and I was talking all about my life, and suddenly it was time for me to go back. it was a woman who I was leaning on, and she was up on a chair, and she turned me around, and she had my hands in her face, like she put my face in her hands just like this, and she turned me around and looked at me in the eyes, and she had very intent eyes, and she wanted me to remember her face. She was like a Spanish woman, like around 50, 55, and that was my spirit guide. And I could feel myself like pulling away and coming back. And I'm in my body, but it's like I'm in between worlds. I can see the room around me, and I sit up, but the other world was like over this world. It's like if you like, transposed it, or you put one over the other, and the whole universe opened up. Like I could see space, I could see cosmos. It was like the birth of the universe opened up before my eyes. And I could feel coming from in front of me, that corner of the room, this feeling of God, of source. But he came to me, and I can't figure out to this day as Father, because the first thing I heard I felt male, and the first thing I heard in my head was Father. And I felt this like love and this peace, and I knew that and I remembered most of all, and I said, how could I have forgotten you? How could I have forgotten you? And I'm so ashamed. I'm so ashamed of everything I did. Like I knew that he had seen everything I did, and I had done some messed up things when I ended up out on the street. Like I had to survive, and things that I thought were bad that other people might not think were that bad, but I was judging myself because there was no judgment there. There was no judgment there. And it was like a cross between words, like telepathy, and just knowledge put into me. Like I was of the knowing that everything I did was supposed to be done that way. That everything I did was for a reason. And I felt like I had fallen short of like glorifying God. Like maybe this was my Christian programming, or maybe it was just the fact that I was in such awe, and I knew that I was here to do something that was to add to the glory of God, of source, of our one true creator that runs through all of us. And he just let me know that everything goes back to him. All of our experiences, it's like God is life, and life is living through us. So we are life being lived through us. And how does God know himself? But through us. We're all characters playing a part, but we're all the same character. We're all the same player playing different characters. It's hard to explain, but we're all one. And I was just like thinking, that I don't know, it was like I just remembered, like it was like forgetting who you are and suddenly remembering who you are. It's like at the core, like you forgot your name and your face, and you suddenly see it and you're like, oh, duh, how could I have possibly forgotten something so important? And he said that if we all remembered, it had something to do with free will, that we wouldn't truly have free will, that we would never take the wrong left or right, or we would never make the wrong decision, because we would always be influenced by the knowledge that there is a creator, that there is a plan, that we are safe, there's nothing to worry about, that we are taken care of. Like if we had that safety, we didn't have the fear, we didn't have the stress, we wouldn't struggle and we wouldn't suffer. And it is through suffering and through struggling and the joy that comes afterwards, and being proud that we made it through, that we evolve and we empathize with others. And I remember like thinking, well, maybe I should have done this better or that better. But there was just no judgment. There was just so much love and so much joy. Like for a child, that you're supposed to mess up. You're supposed to mess up. That's the reason you're here. And he showed me like this, not a game board, but it was like if you saw like a map, and there's like different roads, and there was like trees and bushes and this path and that path, and there's obstacles here, and there's all these different ways. It's like a maze, and you could go this way and you could go that way. But at the top of all of these different roads, there's a light, and that is the light of God. That is the light of Source. And every single one of those intricate roads that stemmed off and here and there led back to Source. So it doesn't matter which path you take, because each path is a lesson. The only thing that matters is the journey. And we're in such a hurry to get to the finish that we don't take time to enjoy the journey. And it sucks. The journey sucks sometimes. And I can look back, and I can even look now, 11:11, the timer says. And I can say, God, why can't I just be done with this pain? Like, haven't I learned enough? But we're always learning, and we're always growing. But I just, wanted to let you guys know that, whether or not this resonates with you, and I'm not going into depth about, what God is and all of that, I'm just here to share an experience, and you can take from it what you will, but just take from it the comfort of love, because that overwhelming love that I felt that day is something that I can draw on any time of day. And once you connect with that part of yourself, that God self that is inside each of us, because each of us, we have a piece of God. I mean, God made us, adamantium particles, I think they're called, inside of us, pieces of God. And you can tap into that. You can pull down your higher self, and you can feel that love. And when I start to feel gratitude, that love comes. And when I feel that like overwhelming love, I just send it out into the universe. And people, they just feel it. And, if you just return a smile to somebody, if you just pick up somebody who dropped something somebody dropped, it can make their day. But just remember, there's no judgment. We judge ourselves. We're the ones who've been taught to feel inadequate. We're the ones who've been taught that we need to beg for scraps from a creator who's too far away to care. And we chose to come here and learn these lessons. And what we need to do right now in this time of awakening is remember the mission, because we are all here for a mission. And I just hope somebody gets something out of this. And if you want to comment, if you want to like, I would appreciate it. And if you have any future ideas, I have a lot of things that I learned about, how to cope with stuff, how to shut down my mind, to keep from thinking and just stay in the now and be present and just feel that love at least once a day. Just feel that love, and you'll be amazed at the changes in your life. I love you all. Blessed be.